My name is Ray Chase, and I am proud to announce that I am voicing
Amon, the Forge Knight. I've got the urge to scourge!
I'm Kimberly Brooks, and I'm the voice of Harlow in Borderlands 4.
Who said science can't be fun?
My name is Judy Alice Lee, and I'm playing Vex.
Enough is enough! I am your undoing!
I'm Alejandro Saab, and I voice Rafa, the Exo Soldier in Borderlands 4.
Soy un granjero de plomo!
What I love about playing Amon is that on the outside you can see this big, beefy, brawler kind of guy who loves combat, and you might think that that's all there is to him. But I love his softer side. When he's committing atrocious acts of violence, he is singing the songs of his people, and he is making the most of every last blood drop.
If someone were to meet Harlow for the first time, I would say they would probably be shocked at how smart she is, because she's pretty fashion forward, and that's going to be the first thing you notice. But she's got brains, and she shows you that right away. She's going to school you.
I've been waiting my whole life to play a character like Vex. She's kind of obsessed with the macabre in a really fun way, but deep down she's a good person, and she cares deeply and wants to fight the good fight.
Rafa is a very suave, and he thinks he's the sexiest thing on the planet, and he knows it, and will act accordingly, and will kill everything in sight because he just has a good time while doing it and looking hot while doing it. My very first session recording for Rafa, I remember I was like, what are we doing? And my director was like, oh, well, you're one of the Vault Hunters. And I was like, but I read for Soldier. And he's like, right. Exo Soldier. And I was like, right. I thought it was a bit. So I had no idea that I was actually a Vault Hunter until I actually got in the booth, which is awesome because, I mean, who wouldn't want to be a Vault Hunter?
I would describe Vex as super sarcastic, dry, sardonic, but also super obsessed with fuzzy, fluffy animals. So it's a lot of fun, and she's multifaceted in that way. I can't wait for you guys to meet Trouble.
We started off with a voice where he was kind of just a generic, brawny warrior type,
where he was down here and just like, I'm furious, let's do this.
And Sam was able to direct me into something a lot more fun, where he's kicking ass, taking names, having a lot of fun with it, saying things like,
I have been drenched in Fowler!
Where he's just having so much fun killing. And isn't that what life should be about?
Favorite part about voicing Harlow is just she's such an adventurous character, and she has so much confidence, and she pretty much figure anything out, and she uses science, she uses her brain, and I think it serves her well.
Fans should be excited for Borderlands 4 because you asked and they delivered, and you finally get to play with some phase powers and a cat.
I can't wait for you guys to play Borderlands 4 on September 12th.
For those of you watching, I cannot wait to share with you what we've been working on and play Borderlands 4 on September 12th.
We can't wait for you to play Borderlands 4 on September 12th. Be there or be square.
Hi, I'm Ray Chase, and I play
Amon in Borderlands 4.
I am Alejandro Saab, and I voice Rafa, the Exo Soldier.
I am Judy Alice Lee, and I voice Vex.
I'm Kimberly Brooks, and I voice Harlow.
Today, we've got some exciting community questions that we are seeing for the first time, and we're going to ask each other some of these. Who wants to start?
Milan the villain.
Ooh.
What was the toughest aspect of recording your characters, and why?
I think what would make video games really cool is if we could record together instead of
Great.
So for me, always with a game that's involved and this complicated and so many characters, it'd be really cool to act with someone else and just really know.
Well, we're the four who can't, because you can't.
Don't ruin the immersion.
We literally can't.
We literally can't. Yeah.
I know.
Yet.
Yes.
Jack Olofsson 92 on Instagram says, not a question, but just want to thank them all in advance for helping bring this game to life. Love this series and looking forward to it. Heart emoji.
Aww.
Thank you, Jack
Emoji back to
Olofsson.
you.
Ben Thomason on Facebook. What was your favorite voice line to scream?
It was a kill line, and I was killing somebody with an ice weapon, and I screamed, "At least it's not fire!"
You know? Yeah.
What impromptu voice lines stuck during the recording session?
Did any of us get a writing credit? Did any of us?
I know. Let's see.
I did add a lot of Spanish curse words. Does that count?
Oh, yeah. That definitely counts.
LegoCast99 asks, what was their reaction when approached to voice a Vault Hunter?
Dude, I was excited. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this was one I was already in the series before, and I thought I was done. They would never think of me. I was just so grateful to come back for this, and with such a cool character. I don't know about you guys. Sure, you love your characters. I love Amon, man. He's my guy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know I was a Vault Hunter, because when I auditioned, it just said soldier. So I was like, oh, I'm auditioning for a soldier.
Were you thought you were enemies?
No, I just thought I was bits. So when I got in the booth, they're like, yeah, you're the extra soldier. And I was like, oh, that explains why there are so many hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I was stoked. I was psyched. I think my initial reaction was probably something along the lines of, fuck yeah.
It also would come in like bits and starts. Like we would have like a whole bunch of sessions in a row, then they'd go and retool it, and then we'd come back and revisit a lot of old quests that we'd done or things like that as things changed. But it's man, I'm grateful for that work. It's been really awesome. Yeah.
And it's fun to be able to put that much time into something, so you really do, sometimes games are so quick you don't really get to sink your teeth into it. So this is...
You go in for 1 4-hour session and then you're done, and then it comes out like 3 years later and you're like, I don't even...
Yeah, I don't remember it. I didn't do that. I don't... Yeah.
Enshroud says, or asks rather, were you a fan of Borderlands before becoming a part of the cast? If so, who was your favorite character from previous time?
Oh,
Yeah.
testing you.
Yeah, I've been playing Borderlands since the first one. I mean, I loved Claptrap, and I actually really liked Reese when I played it. Yeah.
That was gonna be my answer too. I came in on Tales of the Borderlands, and Reese was my boy. I'm always living up to that great Troy Baker in the sky, man. I thought it was such a cool character, and getting to play him was such an honor. Yeah.
I'm partial to Claptrap. I know he gets, some hate sometimes, but I love him, and I think he's adorable, and I want to kind of slap him around just playfully, just a lullaby.
I liked it when in 3 you were able to like give him like an umbrella as an antenna. I thought that was a funny bit.
This is from Lewis on. Can Vex's VA say it's Vexin time?
It's Vexin time. All right, I got one. YellowJax96 asks, if your Vault Hunter had a Spotify playlist, what sort of songs would be on it?
Oh, a lot of Spanish songs. Yeah, like Cara Luna or Suavemente.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely those types of songs.
I buy it.
I feel like the traditional answer for like an Amon, this berserker guy, is going to be like Swedish death metal or something, but I don't think it is. I think there's a composer from the 1500s, Hildegard von Bingen, who wrote chants like chorales with only one line of melody. They're really simple, they're really ethereal, and I think that's what he is listening to. He's listening to simple, ethereal, this beautiful music while he's making art with his violence. I think that's what he would listen to. He's a poet. Yeah. Wow.
Vex listens to synthwave for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Hip hop?
Yeah.
I like hip hop. It gets you pumped up.
Definitely.
All right, I got one from Fred L. Rains on Facebook. I got one question for you.
Explosions? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Approved.
Yes. Most deaf.
That's really what the question was? Just explosions?
Explosions!
Yeah.
The Joom Rage says, what did your characters sound like as children, and what was their favorite word or phrase? Do you guys put this in your character backstories, what they were like as kids? I feel like Amon sounds the same as a kid.
Mama! Love you, Dada!
Oh, God. That's...
I imagine he's the same size, too. He never grows. He's just an enormous baby and just gets a beard.
Well, Rafa still had all his limbs. As a child, he didn't have the exosuit. And I don't know, he'd be like only talking in Spanish. It's like, hola mami, ¿cómo estás?
I feel like Vex was probably super obsessed with the weird and macabre still. So probably a little tomboy, probably a little something like, oh, that's cool and gross. I'm gonna say Harlow is probably improving the performance of her bottle or something, where she was, you know, got that tech going and like
got the screwdriver on the bottle.
Yes.
Bottle.
She didn't have time for the nonsense. She's like, let's get this thing working properly. So yeah, I think she's,
What would she sound like?
she's probably pretty grown up for her age.
full sentences.
Full sentences.
Equals MC squared.
Exactly. E equals MC squared. I don't know, something like that. Here's my question. It's not mine, actually. It's from Advised92 on X. Which Vault Hunter would you drink with at Moxie's bar?
All of them.
Who's buying? That's the question.
Zane, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to make him pay for it.
Well, then I'm there.
Yeah.
I think we're all there. Drink with all of us.
I know.
Okay, my question. Unless you guys want to answer that more thoroughly.
I would be too intimidated. I would not. I would see these four characters.
I mean, Amon alone just...
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm good. I'd walk to the next bar. Yeah.
Just keep walking.
Chance McHorter on Facebook asks, does Amon ever braid his beard?
Does he braid his beard?
Braid his beard?
Absolutely. He has braided many things, including the tops of rifles together, Bugs Bunny style. He is an absolute expert artisan for sure.
Do you think he uses beard oil, and do you think it's fragrant?
He's a good smelling man. That is absolutely a man who.
Is the beard a source of power in any way, or?
It's a source of warmth and companionship, mostly.
Which is so.
Yes, yeah. Same with me. I mean, I'm speaking from experience too. Yeah, exactly. I have one last thing. This is from the Aegis Game, who says, "Can you say hi to my kid Diego? He's a huge fan of the Borderlands games. We got to say hi to Diego."
Hello, Diego.
What's up, Diego?
Be nice to your mom.
This was an absolute blast. Thank you for 2K for bringing us all together at the same time. This has been really fun. We've been hanging out all day, nerding out. And thanks to you guys for submitting your questions. This was an absolute blast. And we hope that you guys have a blast when you play Borderlands 4, September 12th.
Vex she's our goth girl. She is our darkest take on the playable Siren formula so far. We started, from a visual angle, just looking at her outfit, her initial presence. You'd meet her in an alley and then then you knew you were in trouble.
Vex was the very first Vault Hunter that we had worked on, so a lot of her stuff was prototyping and figuring out what we can do, what we're able to do with our engine, and just testing the limits of our system. Her effects are very dark, brooding. We have deep purples, bright pinks, a lot of contrasting colors. She's dark, she's gothic, she's broody, so we wanted to get that menacing, smoky, black feeling into the effects.
Her action skills are so vibrant, so we wanted to make sure that with the darker aesthetic, that we put the contrast in the right places, made sure that she stood out on the battlefield, and especially with her action skills, being able to change her tattoo colors as well with her elements, that it could work in any scenario and you would have, a pleasing design.
For example, if I have a TDR weapon and it rolls a corrosive barrel or some type of corrosive element, then when Vex pops her action skill, that color change will be green. It'll reflect the element of the weapon, and being able to see that is amazing.
For Vex's tattoos, we wanted to, again, reflect, a bit more of the kind of sharper side of the, kind of Siren ideology, taking some of these more smooth and concentric, ribbons that, are typically seen on the arms and adding some sharper, claws and corners. This idea that, even within that, there are variations within, how Sirens express themselves. And when those powers manifest, it truly is a unique reminder of who they are as a person. Vex's silhouette flows out from her hairstyle to her jacket, Everything about her is sharp, angular design. We wanted to, make sure that she felt like the tip of the spear coming at you in combat, from her earrings to all of her poses. Even her nails are super sharp. We wanted her to feel like a dagger.
There's some small details that we put into her wings, which came on later in development in order to kind of get the right look of those. But getting those wings, those details are the things that excite me. Those things are like when the artist put those in, or it was like, oh man, this is it. This is Vex. These are the effects that are going to make this Vault Hunter feel awesome.
She's coming to take you away.
It was development hell getting stuff to work, but I think in the end, it looks so fantastic and just so amazing. I'm glad we were able to get it and make it work the way it did, because it's like the chef's kiss to her action skills, and I think it works extremely well.
Amon is our intergalactic biker crusader.
He's big, he's powerful, thick, and solid.
Amon as the Forge Knight, we wanted to literally take both pieces of that name and really make it something that you feel every time that you play as him. His design is meant to show a bit of his history. We have this entire armor set on him that is built to reflect that he builds his own weapons. It kind of generates these drones that are versatile and create weapons on the fly. They go and form protective shields, and also they can help propel him forward to deal devastating punches and blows to enemies.
Amon is a big guy, and his effects needed to feel like a big guy was carrying them. We didn't want them to feel light. We didn't want them to feel airy. They had to feel heavy and thick. Amon is heavy.
I want players to feel like a brick wall whenever they play Amon. He is absolutely a towering force to be reckoned with. He is covered in metal and leather and spikes and all this cool cybernetic gear that links him to these attack drones. Whether you want to come crashing down with a giant fire hammer or light enemies up with frost axes, you can do anything. Amon's silhouette, we wanted it to feel sturdy. We wanted him to feel like a solid rock. If Vex is a triangle, if Rafa is a hexagon, that would make Amon a pentagon. The 5 pillars, that kind of keep him upright. There's a little bit, of this occult backstory. He started his journey fighting vault monsters. They killed his civilization, so he's on this vendetta to, rid the universe of this. As we kind of look at him as well, he's got a wide stance. He's got broad shoulders, and you can kind of see this in every step. We point on his battle standard. We've got notch marks in his armor of, kind of showcasing, like, okay, this is how many monsters he's taken out. His head has, suffered injury. He's got scars, prosthetics that, he's had to kind of survive through and build himself. We have all these different battle scars on his skin as well, just to kind of show the conflict and what he's kind of gone through. The tatters in his cloth, the bladed knuckles on his fist. Every conflict, he will start to build something new.
Some of the details that excite me in Amon's VFX, the heaviness of everything, the power that is in everything he does. When we were crafting these effects, we wanted them to get the player excited to use. We wanted them to say, hey, I'm pulling out some giant axes and I'm about to just mess some stuff up. I'm about to go crazy with these things. I got this whip. I'm going to go, break some stuff with this. Well, look, I just slammed the ground with my giant hammer. Now I've just disrupted the play space. So a lot of those smaller details of just, adding in just crazy stuff to make things just look blown up and destroyed is, what really excites me about playing this guy.
He's got to crouch through every door frame, but once he's there, he's never going to back down.
You should run now!
Rafa is our introduction to the soldier in this installment of Borderlands. Rafa is a charming, devil-may-care jack-of-all-trades. He is a Swiss Army knife on legs, straight out of the TDR playbook. It's all about versatility, all about mobility, all about getting the job done.
Call me Rafa, sir.
If Vex was a triangle, Rafa is a hexagon. If we look at his overall silhouette, he is defined pretty loosely. He's got a casual fit. His prosthetic legs were part of his transition during his time in the TDO army, but the real silhouette marker are the exo arms that are attached to his back. As he's got the blades out, they kind of form this nice hard angle up at the sides, whether it's up above him or off on the side. Like, it really is this extension to provide some negative space between him and the environment.
Rafa's personality is very outgoing. He has an ego to him. Within those effects, we wanted to portray that by giving out a lot of very large explosive effects. The effects are bombastic. They're over the top with large explosion, large action skill, bright lights, bright emissives, things that feel powerful. We want the player to feel powerful all the time, and especially with Rafa, with the large ego. Boom, it's going to have large effects.
We wanted to take this big dive into, making him feel really cool. All right, let's dive into these greens. Let's dive into these, nice cobalt aesthetics with, some little complementary browns and yellows. Like, he is a bit more reserved. He's not super flashy when it comes to needing all these crazy color pops, but, he is loud when he comes on the battlefield. Rafa's face and the personality there, it was contentious. We really had a difficult time figuring out how to make him expressive, how we wanted players to, kind of interact with him. And the choice that we ended up making was to let the player decide. We gave them an option to start the game either with the mask on or with the mask off. His initial presentation is with the mask and the hood. It's very impactful, it's very cool, but as soon as the game starts, you can take that off, really buy into, all the jokes about his charming smile, and make sure that that's, reflected, and that you can see him as a person as well. Rafa's design is a juxtaposition between this military and this kind of world after his service, kind of seeing these hexagonal shapes. He's very well rounded, very well proportioned in terms of the balance in his kit. He can jump, slide, glide, all of the above with relative ease, and nothing's going to slow him down. Harlow is an energetic, intuitive specialist. She knows how to get what she needs. She has the tools and the intellect to kind of push through any situation, and anything that she can't handle herself, she'll put the walls up for combat and make sure that if she can't fight through it, she can certainly step around it. Harlow's design started looking at a lot of astronaut gear. We wanted players to feel like she was a gadgeteer. We wanted players to feel that you could build your own success and still have some of that crowd control power fantasy. All of her tech and tools are salvaged from her time working in Maliwan, being a part of that world. There's a lot of circular design. There's a lot of high-tech starfaring ship design that was kind of scavenged and put into all of her abilities and even into her design as well. She's got these insulated starship pants plus this frame around her and her jetpack and cannons, all this to her glasses, giving diagnostic readouts. She's all about that cool tech, and it makes her look awesome.
So with Harlow, the unifying visual theme, we were going with gravitational. So this very prismatic look. It's hard just to portray and visualize gravity, in a sense, because you can't see gravity. So being able to bring in this rainbow aesthetic to visualize and convey some gravitational pull, there's some distortion, just being able to bring all that stuff together. And that's essentially how we concepted Harlow, is just everything just needed to feel like there's a gravitational pull and distortion, or gravity's manipulating something around just a bubble area.
Harlow is all about circles. From her spacesuits to her action skills, we really wanted to have a lot of these kind of spherical elements to contrast some of the sharper angles from the rest of the cast. You can see it immediately from the big round pants that we've got on her, to the concentric rings from her terminal skills, to the large projectiles that she's got. She's all about kind of expanding that radius of control. Harlow's color choices, we really wanted to harken back to some of the early space age tech that we found from the United States and Cold War era tech. A lot of whites, steels, oranges, a bit of this green and blue mixed into complement. You'll notice as soon as she walks in the room, who she is.
Some of the details in Harlow's effects that excite me are the distortion that is shown within the gravitational bubble, and especially that rainbow prism effect, because I think that looks awesome. And being able to pull that off and make it look good was not an easy feat. And now that it's in the game, we see it in action, I think it just looks amazing.
Blowing up the spot!
Kairos is effectively a prison planet ruled over by a dictator called the Timekeeper.
He thrives on control and order, and when things are thrown into those mechanisms to create chaos, he only knows how to clamp down and sort of institute martial law. The Timekeeper's primary method of control over the years has been a cybernetic implant called a bolt. A bolt is installed on the base of someone's neck and can be used to monitor their activities and shut them down completely. The Timekeeper is able to use it to see through people's eyes and monitor what's happening on Kairos at all times.
Enter our Vault Hunters. People are now hungrier than they've ever been to get off of Kairos and to fight the oppression that they've been living under. The Vault Hunters end up enmeshed in this battle on the planet, and all roads lead to the Timekeeper. We call them the Outbounders because they, kind of like our Vault Hunters, crash landed on Kairos and have not been able to leave because the planet is on lockdown. They are desperate to go back home. They're ripe for revolution.
The Outbounders are led by a guy named Rush, who is very much this coach-type character, and when the Vault Hunter shows up, helps them join the broader Crimson Resistance, that's when things really ramp up for the Outbounders.
Each zone is ruled over by a commander. In the Fade Fields, we have Idolater Saul. Idolater Saul once lived inside the city and really wants to be the Timekeeper's right-hand man. And when he is sent to the Fade Fields after Elpis arrives, he sees that as his opportunity to prove his worth to the Timekeeper.
The Augurs are a long-standing culture on Kairos. They're the descendants of the original mining teams sent there centuries ago by the Timekeeper in order to get resources like ordinite and other minerals and ores out of the mountain range.
So in the mountains, we have the faction leader Calder, and he is part of the Augurs. He wants to take the fight to the Timekeeper, and the other council members are scared and they live in fear. In Terminus Range, we have Vile Lictor is our commander. Vile Lictor is an augur. Since Elpis has arrived and brought iridium to the planet, Vile Lictor has begun experimenting and doing things under the nose of the Timekeeper. We have the Electi faction, and the leader is Levane, the gorgeous golden Levane. The Electi had previously lived in the city, an upper crust elite people that benefited from the Timekeeper. But when Elpis arrives, the Electi are left outside the city walls. And the city goes on lockdown, and they are not permitted back in the city. And so for the first time, they have to learn how the other side lives and how to survive outside the city walls. In Carcadia Burn, we have the Ripper Queen. When Elpis arrived, her perspective changed. She's realized that there's more to life than what she's been presented. And she rips her bolt as a means to be free of the Timekeeper's influence. When you rip your bolt out, there is a high potential for death, and if not death, insanity. And so her army is largely made up of raving, mad humans with decreased brain capacity.
She was able to convince a great number of her own soldiers to rip out their own bolts, and when they're not convinced, she does it for them.
We also, of course, have the Timekeeper as our primary villain in Borderlands 4. And when we were approaching how to write the Timekeeper, we certainly looked back on all of our previous main villains and considered how we wanted to approach the Timekeeper differently so that he would stand out from anything that we've done before.
We wanted to go back to this sense of dread about the villain of our game. The Timekeeper can reach out and control people with unshielded bolts, and that's a threat that is always hanging over the player's actions in the game. As we unravel things for him, though, we start to see the cracks. We wanted a villain who was a new type of character in the franchise, who is ever present and not overstaying his welcome.
We brought back so much from previous titles that fans wanted to see again and that we wanted to put in the game again. The world is immense, and it's a new planet. You can come to Borderlands 4 whether you've played the previous titles or not, and you can hop right in. It is a turning point in our universe, and how it connects back to our previous titles, but also at the end where it will point, is worth playing for.
Vault hunters at their core are like treasure hunters, bounty seekers. They kind of live on the edge. They're fine taking matters into their own hands, kind of playing that gray space between what's right and what's wrong. Ultimately, they're after a buck or, riches, power, glory, you name it. And they're willing to do what they want to get to it.
So a vault hunter then is a treasure seeker, but also a vault hunter is someone that embraces the chaos that is the Borderlands and thrives. It starts with pitches from within the company. Anyone in the company can pitch a vault hunter. We play the game so much that we start to think about what we would want to see in it next. We collect pitches at the company level. We review those pitches and narrow it down. Often we'll take elements of multiple pitches and put them together to make something even more badass. And then it really goes to design.
We want them to be somebody that players and ourselves can relate to. We view them very similar to like a hero, like in a comic book is frequently a good reference point for us. You want to get something that feels familiar and play as somebody you actually want it to be in real life.
It starts with the ideation of trying to, define and decipher what kind of fantasies we want to build for players. And then from there, it goes into concept. Concept comes up with a bunch of ideas that then design reacts to. And so from there, you go on to building the character and then actually building the action skill. And that's a continuous process as you work with animation, effects, audio, seeing if it feels good, if it feels fun. Sometimes it doesn't. You go back and you have to redo stuff. So, Vault Hunters are in constant production over the course of the project, and we will keep tweaking stuff until, code tells us, stop touching stuff, we gotta ship.
Yeah, I think the guiding principle of Borderlands in general is just to be badass. The abilities, the gear, everything, it all has to be the things that our community expects. They can be from any walk of life, they can bring anything to the table, but ultimately they have to be cool and they have to be fun to play.
We just approach each character and imagine who they are at their most heightened, in the most insane scenario you could place someone, and have them, because they are in the Borderlands, assume it to be the norm. The average day in the Borderlands would be an insane day for any of us. And what would a crazy day look like for someone that lives in this universe?
We're always looking for creating new and interesting experiences. We almost always have a soldier and we almost always have a siren, but we're always looking for, what if the siren had spooky dark powers? What if a soldier had a suit that was grafted to his body and he had like extra arms and ligaments to help him in battle?
To the team, delivering Vault Hunters that we know players will really love is everything. We want to make sure that we're playtesting, that we're bringing in players that can hit on each of the individual phases that we have through development. For me, that was one of my pillars to the team on this project, was playtest often. Any of these number of things that we have with systems and design, we want to get those in front of players so that they can tell us if we're on base or if we need to go and be a little bit better.
We're always looking at the community when it comes to our Vault Hunters to make sure that we're kind of meeting their expectations and then exceeding them, and also surprising them. You know, we can kind of infer a lot of what they're feeling, and we can like use that to our advantage to try to play with those expectations. And so when the game comes out, they're still surprised in the wake of all the marketing that comes along with it.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the people to be able to actually get their hands on Borderlands 4 and just see how badass this world really is. I mean, it's not only bigger, and I mean bigger by a large extent than any Borderlands we've made, but it's also far more detailed and far more beautiful.
We're back, and we're bigger and better than ever. We have so much more abilities, so much more that goes into our Vault Hunters. We have billions of guns. I think that people will be really, really excited about where we're headed in Borderlands 4.